Hello everybody! Welcome back, not to you but to me. It's been a little while since I've been live, definitely the first time this year, but it's so great to be back with you. I am marveling this afternoon at how incredibly green and lush everything is and how bursting the dams are, how full they all are. We're at Mamba Dam now, of course we are, because it's just down the road from where we live. And it's about 5 times, there's about 5 times the amount of water as when I left on leave a little under 2 weeks ago. So it's mind-blowingly full for me. I can hardly believe that we drove. If you look at the whole western part, the part on the right hand side here where my hand is, this part is usually all completely dry and we can drive it to an access road that's over here. Now there is absolutely no way that we can be getting to that road anytime soon, and if we were to approach from the other side we would probably just drive straight into the dam, which would be absolutely useless. But of course it is great fun. Huge amounts of fun actually to be back and to be seeing this place in all its summer glory. I missed being out on the reserve, and I certainly didn't expect to come back and have it be this lush and this much water. We expected, I mean, we've had a lot of rain. We've had what I think has been 138 mils in 3 days we had at the beginning of this week, and then, which is about 6 inches. So that came down, and when it comes down in such a short period of time, it really does make an impact on things like how full our dams are. So we're certainly not complaining, nor are the frogs, nor are the birds, nor are the antelope. Everyone is very excited about how much rain we have, including the elephants, we saw them last night and they were coated in mud, so they've been taking full advantage of this as well. The only animal that we're going to struggle with now is the leopard, because they don't need to come to any of our permanent water sources to be able to drink. There's water everywhere, but you never know. Let's see who we have with us today. Hello Carol, nice to see you. Hello Becky and Brian and Jan, Christine, Elsa. Hello Mum Ruth. Hello Bob. Hello Mary. Hello Jennifer. I'm not sure if I've said hi to you twice now, Jennifer, but it is so nice to be here. Okay, so it's great to have you all with us and great to know you're all coming along today. I think what we're going to do is take a leaf out of Gareth's book and do a little bit of a dam tour. We'll do a dam tour because I know that Andrew has definitely shown you the beautiful summer transformation, but I haven't seen it, and I'm not sure. I think you've been rained out of your last couple of drives, haven't you? So they have right Basil. Basil's on camera with me, by the way, and I think we have VM in FC. We might have a little bit of VM and a little bit of Andrew and maybe a little bit of Gareth. We've got lots of FCs. So something that I have missed a lot about being not here is our cheetahs. They haven't been found, unfortunately, but we do have a keyword, a beautiful keyword for this week, which is jump. And it's a picture that should be on screen right now of a cheetah jumping. Thank you, Andrew, for that. Always nice to get some good pictures of cheetahs. We are super spoiled with our cheetah and rhino sightings on Rietspruit. And I reckon with the amount of rain we've had and how beautiful and lush all the vegetation is, we would be so lucky to see some cheetah in some of this green areas. We've also had beautiful areas on this reserve that have just exploded with string of stars. There's a black-collared barbet perching so beautifully here. Quite a common bird, but you don't always get them on camera. How stunning is that head? Let me quickly give an update. Good afternoon. There are, I think, 3 lionesses on Mamba Road on Leadwood. There's 4 Leadwood stations on Blowbank. There were tracks of a number of lions that looked to head south on the western fence line around Witgat, Vespat. Some stations are moving into that area. And then there was a sighting of a crash of 5 rhinos somewhere on Kaya. I'm not entirely sure where. So we have a stunning black-collared barbet here, and he actually looks beautiful. Sometimes they look a little bit scraggly, especially after the rain, but he's looking gorgeous. I wonder if this is for me. Go ahead.
I can't see exactly where those tracks came off the western fence, but I would check around Skellum, Savannah, that area.
Okay, copy. That was just Brent. We're trying to figure out, there are tracks of lions that we would like to follow up on. Looks like tracks of males and females. So we will head into that area a bit later. But it's a bit unclear as to where those tracks have gone. Tracking is quite tricky at the moment. Don't leave him, he's so beautiful. No, it's okay. We can leave him. I've been so distracted by the radio that every time I'm going to go chat about how beautiful our black-collared barbet is, the radio has gripped my attention. But that's just the way it goes so far. Fabulous, Carol. You've started a new bird list and we haven't seen this one yet. I know your Robert's Bird app did you a little bit dirty. Got rid of all of your... What have we got there? Is it a shrike, a red-backed shrike? Very tricky to tell in amongst everything. I'm struggling a little bit. Just see, perhaps if I pull forward we'll get a better look. Quite a lot smaller than the black-collared barbet, so let me
I'm leaving this 3 minutes off and not.
reposition and see if we can get what that little guy was.
Will I get those minutes on the road?
Might have to go back and check this afternoon and then update on our socials. Just because it's very tricky lighting. I think off-roading is also still closed. I don't know if you can get in a little bit more there, Basil. Oh.
They're about 20 metres east of Mambo Road and about 5 metres south of Mambo Link.
No. I think we're going to struggle to get a good look. Is it gone? I think it's gone. Oh, it's still there. Yeah, you were at the right spot, Basil. It's like a Where's Wally game. Very tricky. Nope, that's not it. Is it gone? Yes, okay. Oh, that's so funny. You know, when you're looking, I also think it's a shrike. It looked like maybe a young red-backed shrike, to be honest with you. I'll have a look and see what we can find going when I get a good look at home. But tricky, that's the beauty of having a camera on the back, is that we can go back and check ourselves. It's also the humbling thing. The most humbling part is you can go back and check yourself. But it's all in good, it's all good fun. Now there's some bark on the road that wasn't there yesterday, so perhaps our elephants have moved south from where we saw them last. Oh, ouch, something's in my eye. That's one of the downsides to summer safari is that there are bugs, prolific bugs everywhere. And it does add a vibrance to a safari to have a lot of bugs, but when they're small and your eyes catch them, like mine do so well, it's less fabulous. Definitely less fabulous. Yesterday I got about 3 bugs in my eyes and I couldn't get them out. We just went on a quick bumble. But we didn't actually, I don't know why, we didn't stop at any of the dams. So Mama Dam was such a surprise to me now. But we got, I got 3 different occasions where I felt bugs flying into my eyes. And then I couldn't get them out. And it's just tricky and the sun was starting to set. And so it was hard for Gareth and for anyone to see what was in my eye. And so just left it, like I so often do. And this morning I was like, oh, my eye's quite sore, and I went into the bathroom and I had a real look in my eye, and there was a little insect that had lost the battle to my eye. It's just the way it is in summer. Have a look at the erosion here on the left hand side of the road now. This is how we know that we've had some serious rain in the recent days that have passed. And if that rain had fallen really slowly and we had got 180 mils soft, 6 inches soft rain, and it had fallen over 6 or 7 or 8 days, we probably wouldn't have got this kind of damage to the side of the road. But because the rain fell in such a short period of time, it just created an enormous amount of power. It had a lot of power behind it. So it's cut away quite significantly at the road here. You can see the tire tracks on the right hand side of where the camera is now. So that's like where we normally drive. If this rain had been any more persistent, we would have lost a little bit into the road. That's cool. We are expecting we are definitely expecting more rain. We've actually been given weather warnings, so we were sent some weather warnings about high wind speeds and more rain that is set to descend upon us around midnight. So we'll see whether or not we actually get that. It's very likely that we'll get it. The atmosphere has changed. This morning when we got that weather warning, it was quite a joke. I thought it was quite a joke because the sky was clear, the day was mostly still, it was beautiful and hot. And now it's clouded over, actually, quite nicely. Clouded over, we did have the wind did pick up, so it's possible that those weather warnings will result in a little bit more rain, which will be very interesting for our dams, because apparently even dams like Lowveld Dam have been spilled over into the tributaries. Same for Sekoi Dam. That's the water is flowing over the inlet. So I think it's going to be exciting times. It's very pretty. Very pretty indeed. Oops, that sounded like I had a branch. There's some beautiful flowers here. Little white flowers. String of stars. I think I do have a branch under the car. Oh, nope, I think I lost it. Which we'll stop and I'll show you a little bit about, well, we'll chat a little bit about them. They were really nice back there. But there's a lot of new wildflowers. Wildflowers that have sprouted since the rain. On our walk this morning, hold on Basil, the roads are rough. On our walk this morning there was some lion's eye, lots of string of stars, some wild foxglove. So we've definitely got flowers. So I see a lot of chatter about Barb's also started a new list. Although Barb, when you get to 340 birds, you should brag about it, not start again. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's fun to start again. That's effectively what we do every time we go on a trip, any trip, is we'll start a new list for the trip. So when we leave Rietspruit to when we arrive back in Rietspruit, we'll log, and then it gets exciting because you can log things that you see 20 times a day that normally you want to throw your pillow at them because they call so loudly outside your room. But when they're a new species on your list and you've got to log them so that you get another species, it gets exciting. So it's always refreshing. Something big and beautiful just flew out of the tree in front of us. I think it was a tawny eagle, but hopefully we can catch up with it and then put it on camera. Might be a nice one. Perhaps it's not a tawny. There's a little bit of termite activity, alert eruption, going on. It's not huge amounts. There are a little bit. Ooh. Haven't seen marulas or whiteberries this year, Carol. Well, that's pretty sad. We've definitely seen marulas. Actually, whiteberries. I haven't seen them. I know I've seen marulas, but it wasn't actually on Rietspruit. It was in town, and a guy had collected like 2 bucket loads from one tree. So it was a very productive tree. Sounds like they've got some elephants not too far from here. Let me just find out. There's a squirrel. They are, sorry Basil. I wanted to see if we could get a squirrel on camera, but unfortunately he got away from us. There is a vehicle behind us. I'll pull over for them. How are you? Good, thanks. That's lots of people. Lots of humans. This might be Brent that we're coming up past now. It does look like it. It is. It's not a successful lion track, but it helps to find your boss. Hi.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year from Brent.
How's everyone doing?
Everyone sounds like they're doing really well. They've all restarted their bird lists for the year.
Oh, nice.
So we're looking. We're probably going to go. Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And then there was a big thing that flew out of the tree here, but I don't know if it was a tawny or...
I didn't see that one.
That's what we were hoping to get.
No worries.
Okay. We'll leave you. Might go buy the Ellies and then head into the west.
They're here somewhere, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they moved into this block between Zulu and Seskant. So there's that, I've forgotten the name of that, one of Dad's new roads.
Okay, we'll have a look.
If you go past Lemon during Reservoir, there's a 2 track to the left.
Okay.
That's the one.
We'll have a look.
Okay. Good luck, guys.
Thanks. Thanks. Happy New Year, traveling man. I'll tell him that all of you are saying Happy New Year, stranger. Welcome back. He's doing well for somebody with a little bit of jet lag. He's faring well. Station with the elephants. Can I take a standby?
You can make your way.
Oh. Copy. Oh, thanks. Just gone west, or just one? Thank you. I'm not sure that we're allowed to be off-roading. Look at how beautiful this section is. Stunning. Imagine an elephant walking through that. I am going to head in here in the hopes that we can find this elephant bull. It would be really, really nice. Hi Connie, nice to see you. Nice to see you out with us. We're looking for an elephant bull who's in this area. Apparently, although he's given everyone else the slip, they've lost him in here somewhere. So I'm really hoping we can help find him, but I'm not sure if the conditions of the bush are anything like the rest of the landscape at the moment. It's pretty wet and drenched. We're just in a roadblock, so we're just gonna wait until we can squeeze past everybody. It would be nice to see some elephants. Or an elephant. I would really enjoy that. Oh, you got him? Okay. Thanks. Not in the south, but I think they must be in the west. We're going to head in and look for them after this.
Yeah, I mean, I lost their tracks in the water somewhere north of Lowveld.
Okay. Coming east or just in the...
They were moving south.
Okay.
Most of the time, and then they cut back. They must have cut east, obviously. They can't go further west.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I should check. I think I'm going to go down like Mamba Dam.
Have a look. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to... Thank you, you too. It's good to know we have an ally. Good to know that somebody's going to be looking for the lions with us.
Afternoon, can nearby assistant trip. I want to respond to jump off.
So, it's been, I mean, today has been pretty good because the three of the girls from the Pride had been found on Leadwood, which is wonderful. And this elephant bull has also been found, but actually yesterday was a pretty quiet day on the reserve. And I think it's just because everything is, firstly, it's thick, and secondly, there's just so much dispersal now with the rain that's fallen. Vegetation is delicious everywhere. And I think they've got him. I'm seeing cameras pointing in a direction, so there must be an elephant here. I think I see a dirty back. Can you see a dirty back? Okay, this is awesome. I'm just going to see if we can squeeze here, and then you can... There you go. We are looking through a gap, but that's beautiful. Obviously, we've only been here 5 seconds, but it might actually be some of the herd. This looks like a cow. I don't have my... Do I have my binoculars? It's a problem when... Yeah, there are 2 there. We had Cheeky Chops and his mother in this area, well, not far from this area last night, so I actually think that this is members of the herd. It's very likely there was an elephant bull, but this is not one of those. You know what, Becky? I have heard that the elephants have been cheeky lately. Basil has updated me on his experiences where he thought he could kiss an elephant on the forehead. Look how beautiful it is with their tails swinging in sync. That's so cool. Oh. It's amazing in nature where you get those little glimpses of symmetry. It doesn't happen very often because everybody marches to the beat of their own drum out here. But that was cool. So it's definitely a cow, 2 cows, 2 females that we have here. And I'm sure they are so grateful for the summer conditions because they are well fed, well bathed, and definitely well watered. That said, they did pull out pipes recently, which makes no sense because there's water everywhere just before we went on leave. So all the crips dried out, but it didn't really matter because all the dams were still full. Perhaps this is Cheeky Chops' mum. If she's going to come here, we're going to give her a bit of space. We don't want anyone to be kissing the foreheads of elephants any longer. But she's walking right up to the vehicle in front of her. They are smelling the dried mud on her. That's amazing. Right up behind them. But not phased. She's just moving on. Oop. Breaking branches as she goes. The next female's following. How fun would it be if we had another Cheeky Chops? Another new baby, 2.0. I'm going to sneak past this car here and see if we can get a view. But they're moving into a tricky area.
Now go there, Brent. There's a little link track that goes between Tesco and South, and that's the track that you want. She's moving through there now, so it should come out at your position too. Copy that, I moved out. I think there are 2 other stations in that area, so I thought I'd so I think that might be Sammy.
Check this tire. Well, thanks. How are you? Oh, she's right here. Carol, another baby elephant would be amazing. Baby elephants are always amazing. I was on a private safari recently and I saw, we were just so privileged. We had the most incredible elephant sightings where they were just feeding, completely surrounding the vehicle. You can see the elephant in there, everybody. That's perfect. Basil's got the focus just right so that the backdrop to all the leaves you're looking at right now is elephant hide. But they're moving off quite quickly, so I think our elephant sighting is about to come to an end. Anyway, part of what was so special about the sightings we were having of these elephants, I'm going to see if there's another way or the rest of the herd are in the area, and then I will figure out if we're going to carry on or stick around. Those 2 are going to head straight into the deep sloot, and we're probably not going to see them again unless unless they cross all the way through and continue west. But if they move up or down the bank, it's going to be very difficult to see them. But just to finish up what I was saying, one of you have put an interesting comment in the comments, so we'll chat about it now. But just to finish up, basically, elephants, when they behave themselves and have tiny little babies, are the most incredible thing. And it's funny, I mean, you become desensitized to it when you have it all the time. But then working on Rietspruit, where our elephants have a little bit of attitude that they like to strut their stuff and keep us at trunk's length, literally. It's interesting to be in the open system where the elephants are a little bit more chilled and they haven't learned that humans have great entertainment value when they can push them around a little bit. Yeah, and how special baby elephants are as well. So I did just see a comment here. Did I see, and I did see, that Lula and Kulula have been mating with Ubuntu? I have seen that, Carol. I've watched those videos. Obviously, they didn't get a video of them actually mating. They got the kind of before the mating. But what was pretty amazing is how persistent he was for how long. I mean, I think we were seeing Ubuntu with Lula and Kulula since maybe November, December, January, no, before November, well, beginning of November. Oh, here they are. So we've got him right here. This looks like it's a bull. This is a super cool. Stations, there is a visual of at least one elephant from Akadis track, but it's milling about in the thicket. Let's see if we can pull forward a little bit. Maybe we'll get a view. So there's definitely more than 3 elephants in this area, or we've seen 3 elephants now in this area. There's another one. Oh, is that Cheeky Chops? Oh, there's a little elephant in there. Another big one on the road in front of us. So I think so too. I think that is Cheeky Chops in there. Maybe not. The back's actually higher than I initially thought. Have to see when it comes out into the open. Another thing that would make me very happy would be a Lula and Kulula baby. A Lula. These elephants are not making our life that easy, but at least they are not paying too much attention to us after their cheeky couple of days. But I can see at least there's at least 4 of them. There's a young bull in front of us, and then there's another one to the left, and a big cow just went into the thicket up ahead. So it probably is Cheeky Chops on the left hand side. It does look like a smaller elephant. Yeah, definitely. All we can hear is branches breaking. You won't believe it, but it seems like they might loop back onto the road that we were previously on, so perhaps it will be worth going back in that direction. Hi Betty, nice of you to join us. Okay, they have gone. And moved east again. They're following their noses to be able to feed. I'm going to pull a little further forward, maybe we'll get another view. I mean, that's worked for us so far. Let's pull forward, see if we get another view. And then, if not, we'll just turn around. This is a one-way track, unfortunately. So we will need to do a U-turn at some point. Maybe over here. What do you think, Basil? Good plan. I'm just going to drive around the bush. Last night we had one of the most spectacular sunsets I might have maybe ever. It was ridiculously beautiful. Watch out. There you go. The sky was full of very light clouds, and then because we've just had rain for so many days that when the sun set, it just picked up all that beautiful reflection came off the clouds, and we just had these golden clouds that turned to pink clouds that then when the sun set and the rays were coming up, then it looked like red and fire across the sky, but it held light for so long because there was so much cloud cover. So we just enjoyed this unbelievably beautiful sunset, and it seems from social media posts that most people across the Lowveld had a similar experience with how exquisite the sunset was yesterday afternoon. And those are the moments, everybody. Those are the moments that remind us, well, we're lucky. The job we do reminds us every 5 minutes of why we love what we do. But that was a really special moment. It was stunning, Carol. It was a beautiful sunset. I'll put some of mine up as well. I'm just not very good on social media. I should be better. I have no excuse. No excuse whatsoever. Okay, I'm just going to give it one more bash, see if we can catch them again, but they seem to be in this section between this 2-track that we were just on and this road over here. And if they are going to hover in this thicket, then we're going to struggle quite, it's going to be quite a difficult challenge to actually put them on camera. So I'm hoping that what's going to happen is that back on the road, but there's really no knowing. It was lovely to see them though. 2 for 2. I've seen them twice in 2 days, perhaps. We should try and see them every single day. It's easier said than done. For some reason and somehow they know how to hide very well, actually. Oh, they must be in front of us. Again, we have the telltale sign of tourists and cameras. Let's get like, they're all here at the reservoir. Oh, this is cool. This is super cool. Amazing. I don't know if you saw that lady, but she's so excited to be following a herd of elephants. Alright, I'm just going to see if I can get a gap somewhere. Or perhaps should we go around quickly? It's going to take too long. Take too long for us to loop around. Take 10 minutes and they might be done drinking by then. So let's see if this guy's going to give us a gap, and then we will slot into the other side. She's a little bit grumpy there. She's also, we'll get over it. Alrighty. How's that, Basil? Fine? That's awesome. I am under a marula tree, but it looks to be a male marula tree because there's absolutely no fruiting going on. Thankfully, because imagine sitting underneath the marula tree with fruits with all of these gentle giants. Looks like the whole herd is here. There's Cheeky Chaps, of course, standing on the wall. Is he getting in? He's so cute. He's really getting big now. This herd would do well to have another calf. It would be good for their social structure. Look at that, how adorable is that, how he just stuck his trunk into the loop of the female who's drinking. So cute. This is amazing. I've just been transported back to a sensation and a feeling on a different game reserve where there are these big trees and much less, but also remnants of a tree house, and you would see 60 elephants moving through. It was a big leadwood forest. So this has very similar feeling, with all the large trees and beautiful elephants moving through the green grass. It's just, wild Africa is such a special place. And the best thing about a herd of elephants is nobody's doing the same thing at the same time. Somebody's drinking, somebody's playing, somebody's eating grass, somebody's eating leaves, somebody else is defecating. There's just always something on the go. Which is how I'm feeling right now. There's something on the go for every one of these elephants. If you're this female, there's 2 somethings on the go. Alright, it's not. There it is. The grass is very high at the moment, Carol, and I'm learning so much about the different soil types on the reserve, and how much is, what the condition of the area is based on the fact that different areas are sprouting different vegetation types. So in this area we have quite a good grass species, or grass establishment here. Of course, there's also a big knobthorn in the back. There's some marula trees. There's a stunning torchwood just on the right of the screen. So this is a very well-established community of vegetation. But there's other areas on the reserve, where we're seeing the string of stars, which are much newer and much more. The sort of pioneer species are coming up. So string of stars is considered a pioneer species, and where that's sprouting, it's an indication that the soil is not able to hold anything that is more mature than a pioneer species. But the pioneer species will compact the soil, and in a couple of years' time, how beautiful is the framing there on the left-hand side of that elephant behind this dead tree. It's just amazing. But in a couple of years' time, the pioneer species will have done their job, and then you'll get the early succession species, which are the grasses that will come through, and then the forbs, and then the shrubs, and eventually it'll be like this area where we'll have a woody savanna. There is a car that's just going to move in front of our view. Just bear with us. We're not going to move. We're going to stay with these elephants. The light is getting beautiful on them, and nobody else seems to be showing that much interest anymore. So
is there anybody on lock with the line on Mamba Road?
for that tusk, it'll be interesting to observe those tusks, that tusk especially as it grows. Perhaps she's got the potential to be like Fang. There's a famous matriarch elephant in the Greater Kruger. She gets seen particularly in the Sabi Sands area, and even I think into the Timbavati, and she's got that tusk that grows backwards almost into her chest, which can't be ideal, but she's managed to do really well with it. Another elephant I saw, and I'm sure a lot of you will know who she is. I must put something on social media. I was just saying I'm so bad, but I really must. But another elephant I saw that if you put her name into any social media, you'll pick it up. But her name is Ranzakele, and she is the elephant with a hole in her face. Roughly, if you look at this elephant in front of us, if you look between the eyes and maybe a little bit down the trunk to where the most prominent folds are, where her trunk, the tip of her trunk just touched, there is a huge cavity in Ranzakele's face. And we had amazing encounters with her where she was feeding up or right next to the vehicle, and we could see the moisture dripping down her nasal cavity and then when she breathed out, if her trunk was curled up in her mouth, you could see the, well, you couldn't see the air because no one can see air, but you could see the mucus actually sprayed out. So we made sure we weren't in her firing zone. But she's an incredible elephant, and our tracker, when we were on the safari, has actually seen other elephants feeding her water. So she can drink. She's got this strange facial feature, which means that it's tricky for her to drink. She was having much smaller sips than I think most normal elephants. But he's seen other elephants drawing up water in their trunks and then putting the tips of their trunks in her mouth just to help her drink, particularly on hot days. And that to me is probably one of the most sophisticated family teamwork reports I've heard of. She's a matriarch, she's a big elephant, I think she's the matriarch of that herd. No one was as big as her in her herd. She's got a tiny calf, so she's really thriving, but she does have this serious ailment, and it's not negligible, it's not nothing, it's quite a serious condition that she lives with, and I'm sure it puts her at degrees of discomfort. Carol, you're right, she is gorgeous, and how she's managed to survive with that hole is amazing, and I think it's a testament to the whole herd and the herd structure. We have a leadwood tree just in front of this elephant, and then the elephant behind it, and I always think, and if you go into the top bit here, if you can, I always think that the elephant's hide looks so much like, or the leadwood looks so much like elephant skin, and now that you can see an elephant up against a leadwood tree, of course she's hiding herself now that I wanted to show you the comparison. But you can see under the armpit there, it's kind of similar. It's not perfect, but I always think that leadwoods remind me of crocodiles and elephants. Mary, I think that elephant is doing well. I did hear reports after they treated her. You're referring to the one, was it on Pridelands, that had that massive hole in her foot from, I mean, I'm not sure, I think it was inconclusive. There were speculations around it decaying because of potentially a snare embedded or an injury that just got really infected, but she did have a proper hole at the base of her foot, and I'm sure that must have been, besides being painful, really difficult for communication, because they perceive so much of their communication through the pads in their feet. So I think that she must have just had a really difficult time, that elephant, and I'm hoping that the veterinary treatment she received that day, we have pictures up of that operation in our house. I think Joffers and Brent presented that, maybe Yuka as well. But I remember that, you know, they did have a report that she was doing well. Tricky with elephants in big open systems, especially when they're not collared, because they can move so far. I mean, just as an example of how far they can move, we were seeing Ranzakele and Fang in the southern parts of the Sabi Sands. They're not part of the same herd, they're not related, but they're two females with very well, I don't know if they're not related, who might know, but very distinctly different features. And then I'm in the northern parts of the Timbavati, and I see Ranzakele again, and so it speaks to how far they move. So that's, I mean, she's crossed maybe 100 different properties in that time, which people are not allowed to cross because of bureaucracy and traversing agreements and all the rest of it. So it's, yeah, if she never returned to that area, we never would have been able to get much information on her. I like to believe she's doing better. Somebody's very flatulent. I'm not sure if you picked that up on the mic. No. Whoever's up ahead of us has a very upset belly. Not the one we're looking at. Somebody on our right. There's lots of flies buzzing around us. Oh, you hear that? You can hear them breaking trees, but there's no way to get to them, unfortunately. There you go. She's also a little bit flatulent. Of course she is. She's an elephant. They've really given us an exquisite afternoon. They haven't put... Oh, can you hear that? I don't know if any of you heard that, but there was sounded like branches or trees breaking, but actually it was probably very likely an elephant that either has pushed over a tree or has got her tusk in. There's a better view of one on the road there. Tusk into the bark and stripping the cambium. Just moving down the hill. So, yeah, they're breaking branches. Actually feels like they're all around us. We can only see this female. They're all around us. Stripping grass. Elephants they have a very, what they call Catholic diet. They'll eat pretty much anything. But they really are partial to grazing. And so this time of the year, most of their diet is made up of grass. Of course, every now and then they're going to break branches, and they'll often strip the bark of trees in key times in the trees year. So now for the marulas, when the marulas are fruiting, the trees are pushing nutrients and they're pushing nutrients up from the roots into the branches to be able to provide food and sustenance for the fruit. And so there's a lot of nutrients in the cambium layer. So that makes it pretty tasty and nutritious as well. And then towards the end of the season, when the flatulence again. When the trees are starting to store more nutrients and they're bringing it down from the leaves and storing it in the root systems, then you'll see elephants will also start stripping bark because there's more transportation, more flow of nutrients again. So it's not as random as people like to think or describe. Elephants are very calculated. Even though it's an overcast day, it's enormously humid, and you can see this elephant. She's combating the heat with the slow movement of her ears. Every now and then she does a nice big flap to get that cool air behind her ears. She's going to move off and be impossible to see as well. This has been probably my favorite elephant sighting here, because they just don't care that we're here. They're just caring about their business, and that's exactly what we need from elephants. We need them to ignore us. Ignore us and not respond to us, and that's what they've done. They've completely ignored us. They've gone about their business. They were feeding, and then they were drinking, and then they moved into this area where there's so much grass for them to feed on, with the beautiful trees forming the canopy above them, and it's just been such a spectacular elephant sighting. I'm very thrilled. I'm going to poke my nose down here, see if I can cross through without disturbing any elephant feeding activity. And then what we're going to do is cross through, and I think Brent did come down this area and couldn't find any more tracks, those lions, but it's getting to that time of day that if these males want to start roaring, I want to be in an area where we can hear them. So I think we'll leave these elephants and start our search for another majestic member of the Big Five. The girl. Thanks for being so relaxed with us. Maybe Basil can get her there. Filling her mouth with grass. They're feeding beautifully. How much she's taking off, and she'll probably bite it. The part with the mud she might bite, and yeah, you go, bite and drop. So that she doesn't have to eat all that dirt, and it would deteriorate the condition of her teeth. So it's a tactical choice to remove the gritty bits. Isn't she exquisite? There's a lot of hearing. I don't know if you can hear, but the chewing, the ears flapping. She's making amazing noises.
I'm leaving the local street email once they can unlock.
She's also got quite an, if her trunk wasn't, I mean her tusk wasn't so distinctive, that a triangular nick on her ear is very distinctive as well. Would be a good feature to look out for. But she's also trying to cool her body temperature down, keeping those ears flapping. She's kind of like she's on autopilot. Her eyes are half closed, her trunk goes to the ground and then to her mouth, and then to the ground and then to her mouth. Beautiful. Alright, let's go so that we can try and find these lions, give ourselves some time. Stations, I'm leaving the herd of elephants unattended. They are now between Lemondure and Krip and the Diepsloot, just stationary feeding. Hold on. Whenever we drive this section of the reserve, I have to remind my cameraman that I do love them. I'm not trying to make their lives difficult. It's so bouncy here, but right now it's our best chance, our best opportunity to find our lions. I haven't seen them in a long time. 2 weeks is a long time for a person who lives in the bush to not see a lion. We had them on, I think the last time I saw them was New Year's Eve. Yeah. I think I saw them again. Bounce, bounce, bouncing along. It's a beautiful afternoon. The wind is picking up a little bit. Perhaps it's going to bring that storm in. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. Do you need us to restart? Apparently signal was a little bit patchy for a few minutes there, but looks like it's all good. It's to be expected. Summer is plentiful with vegetation, which means that it can be trickier for signal. So we're just going to continue on our route up here, heading north, working this area north because we are still kind of in the southern parts of the reserve. So if we just work it north, we should intercept where those tracks were last left and then take it from there. But the reports I've had from 2 people now is that tracks seem to be heading into this area. So keep your fingers crossed, everybody. To find our Rietspruit lions would be a good thing, a wonderful thing actually. This is so pretty at the moment. Hazel, maybe you can just show everybody the scene and have a look what we were chatting about with the string of stars, which is the scientific name of the string of stars. I'm looking at all the little white flowers. Beautiful is the helichrysum. It's one of the helichrysum species, so it's a little herbaceous plant. I'll see if I can pick some of the leaves and show you, but the leaves actually have quite a furry texture to them, and that just makes them pretty unpalatable. They smell, some people tell you that they'll smell like turpentine. Where shall I hold it? Shall I put it on the dashboard? The dashboard's good, then I can see as well. So all these white flowers, you can see them in the background here, they are this helichrysum krausi is the name, and you can see it looks like a bunch of these flowers look like a lot of little stars all together. So they are the string of stars, and it's one of the pioneer species. Now, if you can get in on the leaf here, I don't know if you can see it, but maybe you can hear it. I'll do it up close next to my mic. It's very furry, woolly. There's a woolly texture to it that makes it quite coarse, actually. And they do have a scent, but it's actually not as pungent as it sometimes is. Sometimes it will remind you of certain essential oils, but it's not very palatable. You'll see some animals will munch on it, but it's good that it's not palatable, because the whole point of a pioneer species, and a species like this, is that it rehabilitates the area so that the next phase the succession species like grass can move into the area, and those species of plants are more palatable, and they become more palatable the further along the line they get, so that animals can feed on them. But now, oh, look at that scene. Basil can show you how beautiful the sky's looking with the string of stars beneath. It's really beautiful at the moment. And I think when you drive through this area, the string of stars that we've just had a really good look at makes the whole landscape just even more vibrant. And of course it's very natural for us to see pioneer species on Rietspruit, because Rietspruit previously has only been sort of started being rehabilitated to a game reserve in certain areas pretty recently. And they've removed sicklebush from areas, and in doing so the soil is quite sandy or rocky, which are the two key areas where you're going to find string of stars: rocky areas or sandy areas. You can see if you look at the road in front, you don't have to move anything, but at the bottom of the screen there's rocks, and the reason the cameramen bounce around so much is because of how rocky this section is. So it is perfect. You know, Mary, I couldn't agree with you more. I know we're talking about how lovely the scene is, and we need to get ourselves to a position where we can have a mountain, what did I used to call it? A mountain marvel minute. But Mary just says, I think these elephants purposefully mess with Andrew so that they can get a reaction. That's firstly a cheeky thing to say. Secondly, I do think that these elephants like and seek a reaction. I think that they have learned that they can bully vehicles because vehicles get nervous of them. I'm going to stop here. That's absolutely unbelievable. Basil, let's have our mountain marvel moment or minute here. Just do a minute of soaking up. Look at that pathway that leads directly to the most exquisite sunset. I'm going to be quiet. That's beautiful. If I had to personify today, the feeling today, I would say that it is moody. It is a moody afternoon, a moody sky, a moody scene. It's beautiful though. It's unbelievably beautiful. I agree, Mary. It's exquisite. You just said it's lovely, but I think it's exquisite. I don't know if you can see how prolific, maybe just have a look here, but look at how prolific this string of stars, the helichrysum, is at the moment. It's everywhere. Now what we need is something exquisite to just walk through it so that we can get it surrounded by beautiful string of stars like a leopard. Even a hyena. I actually did get a picture of a hyena on my most recent safari, lying down in a big field of this string of stars, so can't complain too much with a burning sky like that behind it. So some wishes do come true, everyone. They just take a lot of individual safaris, a lot of practice and patience. I like it as well as a photograph because it's really special that you see a hyena depicted in the majestic scenes, not at a carcass or doing something that people perceive as more evil, but just lying in a bed of flowers with an exquisite sunset, as if to say, I'm just basking in the glory. That was cool. Oh my goodness, the sky is amazing. And the clouds are thick. I mean, they're not all illuminated. We just had a hornbill that flew over us. It's really just a little bit above the mountain that's still getting light, but everything else is dark above it. Thick with clouds. Let's check and see. Are we going to go north up the fence? Yeah, let's try go north up the fence. See, just for a little bit. Just see if there's anything that we can find. It is a bumpy section, but basil bears it well. Yeah, the sky is so dramatic. I wish we could do it justice, but it just, I mean, we are doing it some justice, but nothing like. The reality is, it's unbelievable. Oh, I've got a thorn. I'll never forget this little corner when I first moved here. All three of the wild dogs, at the time it was 3, they used to hang out right here. There wasn't a mud puddle that I'm currently trudging through. No mud puddle, but there was lots of wild dog activity up here. And then when they figured out that they had great respect, there's all those lion tracks next to you. Nope. All antelope. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were putting them on. All antelope tracks. There's still flowing water on this road as well. The beautiful thing about this car is that if the lions roar, we should be able, at your head, we should be able to hear them if they're in this area. One hopes. One hopes. And the nice thing about this fence line is that there's always the chance of finding perhaps buffalo or waterbuck or something else that's quite weird, like maybe a sable, something that we're not used to seeing on Rietspruit. We had waterbuck on Rietspruit. I found a waterbuck and an eland one afternoon. It was a very lucky afternoon. Anyway, that same afternoon, I think we had an encounter with, maybe it wasn't that afternoon, but where the lions and 2 rhinos ended up almost sniffing each other. Sometimes drives blend into one. I know it was while Gareth was away on his private safari, that's all I remember. Is that a vervet? It sounded like an alarm call, but only once. One little. going a little slower in the hopes that I can hear more, if there is more. Come on, lions. Make our day. Otherwise, a spotted eagle owl would be a lovely thing to see. What else? What else would we love to see? I love putting wish lists out there. A lovely thing to see would be a spotted eagle owl. Of course, the L word would always be fabulous. No one would say no to seeing an L word animal. And then a civet. A civet would be fun. I could enjoy a civet sighting. Lots of little critters that I'd love to see. I'd still love to see an aardvark. Ronnie, our tour, our head of travel, she has one. She lives on Leadwood. She has an aardvark that she saw the other day. It lives in a burrow just outside her house, which is really the stuff of jealousy. Very jealous of the way Ronnie gets to see an aardvark. Pretty normal for her. I've never seen one. It's one thing I haven't seen. I also actually, another thing I haven't seen is mating rhinos. So Lula and Kalula and Ubuntu on the airstrip after I'd had so many great sightings of them all hanging out together. I was I'm a little bit jealous because as a naturalist, you actually want to see everything you can see. The gory, the PG rated stuff. You want to see it all. You want to observe it all. And it's not to say that they won't mate again. So if we spend our time, perhaps we'll do that on our next drive. Head out towards where they're normally seen, which is around the Boskamp airstrip. If we head out and spend some time around there, perhaps we'll get lucky and we'll find them. It would be so special to see Lula and Kalula have calves in the wild. Such a redemptive story, because obviously everybody, I mean most of you around here know their story, but for those of you who don't, they are two orphaned rhinos. They were orphaned, one of them at 4 months and one of them at 5 months, both of them because their mother was poached. And they were really lucky that they got found and rescued, because at 4 and 5 months old, I mean, they are so vulnerable. So they were found in time and rescued, and they went to a secure facility for a while, and they were lived in captivity for the next 8 years of their life. One of them is a year older than the other one, and then remarkably have made a great return and successful return to the wild. With this grass being so lush, they are flourishing. I'm sure they must be pinching themselves at how amazing it is to be a wild rhino on a reserve where there are other wild rhinos, especially Ubuntu, who's making them feel very at home. Woohoo! This is enough to get you going. I'm not hearing or seeing any signs of these lions. I know that the tracks that they last had were a little higher up than where we are now, just a smidgen. So we will get out and check out that area. We'll be there soon. But then we'll take a road on the inside of the reserve to come down and just check if they're not here. Didn't hear anything further from that man when we first found the elephants, who was going to come and check for these lions. So, oh, there are tracks here. There are tracks. So we've driven the route that I would have expected them to go south down. So we're just going to nip onto the next road and then make our way south and just drive the road more or less parallel to the road that we've driven up, just to see if we can find any further sign of them. Does that work for you, Basil? Okay, good. Me too, Carol. I think we should camp out at Ronnie's. We should just pitch a tent at the burrow to that Aardvark's hole and wait. Why not? In theory, it sounds like it would be very easy. But the reality is, her sightings are actually quite inconsistent of it. So she'll see it and then she won't see it for a couple of weeks and then she'll see it again. Although I kind of like the idea of having a camp out at the den of the Aardvark. Right, we're just wandering up the next road. It's not far, because I've now seen those tracks heading kind of southeast. I mean, they can't go any further west from here because there's a fence. But they will have either continued south or gone southeast, and that's what we're gonna follow the road around and head on to Rooi Randjies, and then take that road south just to see if perhaps they've surfaced on the next road. It's obviously they're wild, so they're going to do wild lion things, but it's very thick at the moment and the grass is high, and so they are more likely to be moving along the roads, I think, unless they're stalking, than through the thicket. And that's just because, whoopsie, I think this is it, Basil, look how overgrown this road is. That's amazing. Good golly. So, in weather like this, you can hear a ratting testicular. Are we counting birds based on sound, Carol, or do we have to see them? Sorry, I'm trying to get my point out and then I keep getting distracted, as is the norm for me. But when vegetation is thick and dense like this, lions are more likely to make use of the roads. They'll go off the roads, of course, because it's better cover for hunting. But they're not going to sleep and rest in this really, really long grass, because it's going to be full of parasites. Lots of ticks, pepper ticks this time of the year are prolific, and the ground is also damp. So if they can find a nice bare patch of ground and be able to sleep in the shade while not having to contend with parasites or too much water, then that's what they'll do. So I suspect that if they are still on the move, or if they're in this area, that they should emerge on the next road up. The next road east from where we were. It's difficult to tell because it's getting dark, but you might be able to see that you're not seeing a white flush on on the vegetation because the string of stars have thinned out, and now we have quite a lot of grass that's growing on the understory. So there's a lot of succession happening here, and it's just very cool to see that thread of how the savanna is always evolving and always changing in this context. That is probably something that I've learned the best about being out here, is that the one thing you can guarantee about the savanna ecosystem is that it is always in a state of flux. It's always going through a shift, going through a change. Different factors influence it. So excessive amounts of rain, fire, grazing, you know, everything is impacting the savanna, and so it's never consistently one thing. Almost that time for some extra light. Not quite time yet. We have to see them. The lightning. I didn't see lightning. Basil says he's seeing lightning. I'm pretty sure that this rain will stay away for us to finish drive, which is great. Now that I've said it, you never know. But okay, Carol, so you said we haven't seen them on cam. We have to see them on cam or on live drives. Oh, okay, so we haven't even seen an aardvark on a cam. That's, I guess, somewhat encouraging, because the cams just stay in one place, and so animals often come to them because there's no human interference. So if we're not even getting aardvarks on our cams, oh, lots of lightning. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. I was a little wrong on my prediction of the storm, everybody. It does look like it's getting ominous, but I've just got reports from home. Okay, so the lion tracks actually head in this direction. We're getting a lot of lightning all of a sudden, and apparently around Hayes it's getting very intense. So, okay, I was very wrong. I spoke too soon, but we are going to have to cut drive short, everybody, just because the storm is starting to look increasingly ominous, a little bit dangerous, very wet, and we'd hate to put a long-term dampener on the drive. So I'm going to have to say goodbye to you, and if you're joining us for Zoom, then we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Otherwise, it's Friday afternoon. Oh, there's another flash of lightning. All right. Great to be with you all again, and I'm sorry that we were cut short by the weather. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you soon.